Welcome to Black and Brown in the Woods, where we take you outside to heal inside. This is episode number 4. Yeah, you heard it right. And this episode theme is called Mr. Easy Equity. And in saying that theme, we are celebrating a friend of mine, a great, amazing father, but also the founder and CEO of Equitable Solutions. And as you heard it, he is a book author. That's why this is called Mr. Easy Equity. That book is called Easy Equity. If you don't have it, you should get it. I have my copy. I got to meet with Mr. Sykes one more time so he could sign that copy for me because he gave me that copy. But you heard it. The brother's name is Michael Sykes. He does amazing work for the community, and that's who we celebrate. Black and Brown in the Woods is about celebrating our folks who impact our community and other individuals as a whole. And my brother does this in very different fashions. And that's why I wanted to bring him here today on Black and Brown in the Woods, episode number 4, to celebrate Michael Sykes, to give Michael his virtual flowers. But also, you know what this episode is about. It's about digging in the brain a little bit, getting some insights from their heart. We're going to have some vulnerable conversation. And of course, we have our top 5 questions for Mr. Easy Equity. So everybody come together. Let's give Mr. Easy Equity the round of applause and welcome into the room. Thank you, Michael Sykes. We'll give you that round of applause. Camp applause. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for allowing us to honor you. Welcome to Black and Brown in the Woods podcast.
What up, brother? It's good seeing you again, as always, and thank you for having me. It's an honor. Anytime I get to chill with you and talk with you via podcast, via face to face, it's super dope. And before we jump in, I do want to give you a shout out. That walk we took and then the drive to see the buffalo really resonated. It's been sitting with me ever since. And I sent some other people to do it. And it's healing, and it was everything I needed in the moment. And God's intentional with His plan, and He is intentional with bringing you in my life that day. So thank you.
Hey, I love that. See, you're already starting already with the vulnerability. And that's the amazing thing of Michael. You don't really have to pull that out of Michael. It is a big part of his cloth and who he is. And you know what, brother? That day is as amazing as it was for you. It was just as amazing for me, right? I know that we're newly met and the connection is founded new, but sometimes new connections that are real, they just feel so rooted. And that day with the buffalo was really cool, right? Like our bison represent freedom, and I felt like both you and I felt that in that space. And again, I think part of why this theme, I coined it Mr. Easy Equity beyond your book and the things that you do. What connected me to your power and your spirit was your affirmations, the things you put out there for the world to take in, the messages that you sent out. So clear, so precise, but so vulnerable. And I think that's one part of the celebration of you, because I know there's many layers of you, right, beyond the vulnerability. I mentioned an amazing father, right, and of course being a father myself, and that being my foundation of the man I am, the person I am, right. That's another celebration of who you are. So I don't want to disguise that one. I don't want to hide that one. That's a celebration. But also, I know many people, as I mentioned before we started recording this segment, I was in a meeting with someone else who was like, Michael Sykes. Michael Sykes. And I was like, this brother just has a momentum, as I speak to him about, and a presence, and people want it. So today, it's all about celebrating you, Michael. We have top 5 questions for you. So I want to go ahead and get started if you're ready to go.
Let's go get it.
All right. So first question, right? Can you share a powerful moment when you witnessed your work genuinely change someone's life? What was that experience like for you on a personal level?
Dang, you just jumping right into it. Of course you would, and yeah, it only makes sense. Thank you for that question. Yeah, I've witnessed it, and it was so affirming. Um, there's a saying, or this rapper said, stop looking for facts when you're the truth. Stop looking for signs when you're the proof. And sometimes when you're doing this work, you don't know if you're going the right direction. But like I feel my spirit was taking me in a direction to write easy equity. And so I put my heart into it. There was times when I was writing easy equity and I was crying on the pages and it was healing me. And so I was like, if it's healing me, I think it's going to work for this world. And I was doing a presentation and I saw this person crying and they said, I never talked to myself and spoke this much life into me, into myself ever. And this feels good. And from this moment, it's changed me and I'm healing parts of me that I didn't even know needed to be healed. I'm healing that little girl, that 8-year old girl that didn't know that she was enough. And like that connected with me because I had to heal that 8-year old Mike Sykes and that 15-year-old Mike Sykes. Heck, even that 21-year-old Mike Sykes in order to be the person I am today. And for somebody to heal all parts of themselves and me to support them in that journey, like that's everything to me. Like that's what I want. Like that's why I do this work is so this world so people can smile more. And when I'm doing that work, heart work, service work, then I'm close to my grandma. So that's like like when those moments happen, I it's like she shows up and I can feel her presence like in me, like on her shoulders, and she's just like, "Yeah, this is why, Mike." And I'm like, "All right, I got you, Grandma."
That's right, man. Man, that's so powerful. I think, when you're talking about writing the book and like moments of it, you know, captivating your own self with your own writings, right? And I think what I got from that is it went beyond the writings, knowing that these words that are putting together are all things that you build within yourself that connected that spirit, that heart. You brought it to a paper and you felt that, you almost envision the little girl crying and right like that, those connecting pieces and how it impacted you personally, right? In that sense. And obviously that universal connection with grandma, as you always share with us, which I love, and such a special connection. So, it almost brings layers into that answer you said there, but so powerful in the sense of like manifesting these thoughts and things that are in your true heart, right? Like these words and these thoughts and the things that you were feeling and feeling compelled enough to dive out there and put yourself out there, right? And saying that personal level and that empowerment you received in it just sounds amazing, man. So thank you for that one, Michael. I'm gonna lean into number two here, right?
Okay. Okay.
This episode is called Mr. Easy Equity, and in your own words, what does equity truly mean in the context of community and relationships? And why should we all strive for it, Michael?
Adam, stop asking all these deep, difficult questions. Um, equity for me, or what equity means to me, is love for self, love for others, and love for community. And it's that simple and it's that complex all at the same time. Like you can truly give to others and give to community and give to your community if you're not intentional with loving you. I think Malcolm X had a quote, and I'm not going to say it verbatim, but he said sometimes Black people you can't love yourself as a Black person if you love the leaves but hate the trunk of the tree. And that just Malcolm X is like I try to channel his spirit. Like I really connect with him. But you have to love you for you. You got to love yourself unapologetically in a way that changes the whole energy within your spirit. You have to love you, and how you treat you matters. So you're talking about the community that needs a lot of support, and your family and others need a lot of support. You need a lot of support first. how you love you matters. So, like, easy equity is like, how are you loving you? How are you being tender with yourself? And how are you caring about yourself in a way that's transformative to create a different energy, a different vibration, a different frequency? And that reverberates throughout your community into others. And so when we see a community that is suffering, I can say there's a whole bunch of individuals that are suffering too. So, like, how do we support others with loving themselves? And we can get that to take off, to multiply, then the community starts doing well because all the individuals are doing well because all the individuals know how to love them. And so now they're not shackled to everybody else's reality, society's reality, their parents' reality, friends' reality. They know who they are, and they know that they're enough. And so now you're speaking life into yourself, and more lively people create a more lively community. And so it's just like slow down and take a breath. We talked about going outside to heal inside. Like, go out and connect with Mother Earth. We're meant to connect with Earth to center ourselves. And when we're in alignment with Earth, when we're in alignment with nature, you like there's an energy and a frequency that just connects you in a way that opens up all the possibilities. And so now you're not worried about what you can't do. You're more focused on what you're able to accomplish and that you matter. And so when you love you, you can support with loving others. The more you love you and the more you explore yourself, the more you know all the different creases and crevices and the different layers of you. Now you can love me differently because you understand now I have layers just like you. So just like when I'm talking to you, Adam, you like, you are a thinker. You have layers, Mike. I'm like, oh, dang, he sees me. And so now you're connecting with the different layers. Now that goes from a surface level relationship to an authentic relationship. Sometimes we have surface level relationships with our community and we wonder why our community is suffering because we don't have an authentic relationship because we don't have layers within our community. So when we start getting past surface level relationships with our community and others, now we can start having top five questions. Now we can start digging deeper. Now we can get to the root of issues or problems or differences. And then we can work together because we love ourselves. We have more capacity to love others. So now problem solving is different. Now it's not about friction, it's about collaboration and understanding. And so, like, all right, I know you have layers. I know I don't like this about you, but there's more about you than the things that I don't like about you. There's more to you. I know there is, because there's more to me than the things that you don't like about me. I want to explore that. What are the things we got in common? What are the things that I can what are the things I can learn from you? And what can you learn from me? And fill my heart. Feel the thing that's pumping in my chest and receive that. That's love for you, regardless of our thinking. You can feel my love for you because I'm willing to do anything for you because I know when I do anything for other people, when I love unconditionally and when I love authentically, I'm closer to my grandma. And I'd rather be closer to her than not to like you. So I'm a love, being vulnerable. I don't care. I do care if I get hurt, but I know I'm taking a risk to be hurt, but I'm not going to take a risk not to be close to her, my why and my spirit. And nine times out of 10, when people feel that you genuinely connect with them and genuinely care and you genuinely love for them, they'll respond. And so that's an invitation to be seen. So now we have the opportunity to move forward. Sorry, a bit of a tangent.
No, no tangent at all. That's the layers that I appreciate, Michael. You know that. I think that's the beautiful thing of like having these conversations, right? Being able to open up to some questions and allow you to kind of have the space to speak to them. And when you were speaking, I got a few messages out that, so I wanted to unpack it a little because you have layers, and I want to unpack that. And I think what I'm hearing is that equity. The question was around the equity of community and relationships. And what I got from you is that before we get to that, the equity starts with you, that individual relationship of yourself, and how you captivate that, how you cultivate that, how you manage that, right? But then I heard the other side of, once you kind of like maintain and find a source of that relationship where you're in tune, you feel connected, then your community sees a better equity from you, right? That those equitable relationships become better because you work on the foundation of who you are first. Because like you said, you can sit here and not work on you and try to be in the equitable space with the community, but what are you really doing for them if you come in half-ass or half-hearted, or like, 1 foot out, 1 foot in? Then I heard you about the things, the whys, and the pieces of like of joy is not being stilled because of what you hold for, like, like, I can hate on you, or I can maintain this love for my grandma because this energy brings me closer to to my grandma, and I'd rather be here than bring that energy into this space of over here, right? And I think over here meaning whether it's community relationships that don't benefit you or serve you, right? And I think sometimes as humans, we're so easy to be reactive, right? Where we react. But I'm loving what you're saying, Michael, about like you could be reactive, or you can remember where that energy brings you. And sometimes it brings you to destinations that bring you comfort and consoling, like grandma's energy, or like, it takes you to a space that you remember or love. Either way, what I got from you on that, before you can get to the equity relationships of community and such, got to start with you. You're the star player in that one, and you can't fix the bolts and nuts that need to be tightened and whatever adjusted on you. Then what are you really giving those relationships and community? Does that sound about right, Michael?
Yeah, sounds that sounds right. And what I would add is like I see people fighting for justice and fighting for equity and fighting for all these things. Fighting invites resistance. I need people to love for equity, love for justice, love for community. Love fills your spirit. And it's hard to fight against somebody that loves you. It's hard. You can say a whole bunch of bad things about me, but when I'm still speaking life into you, it's a it's a different energy. So you can talk stuff about Mike Sykes one time, and I'm still going to put love into you because I know that's who I am. And then you're going to say it a second time, and I'm still going to put energy and love into you because I know who I am. And that third time, you're going to question what you're about to say to me. And then you have a higher likelihood to get curious about me now. Why does this dude keep filling me up, filling my cup and saying nice thing about me when I'm talking stuff to him? Then we have a conversation. That's that changes things. Because at the end of the day, we have inequities and harms and all these things because of a lack of communication. And for people not knowing who they are, people not diving deep into knowing who their true selves is. They're trying to align with things that don't align with them, or they're trying to align with other people or different societal norms so they aren't picked on, so they are not bullied. So they're trying to be a part of the in crowd. I'm like, you are the in crowd. Who do you want to be? What do you stand for? Versus trying to do something to stay out of harm's way. Like you're shackled in somebody else's reality. So you're only cool long as you do what somebody else is telling you to do. So you like a different color and walk a different way. Now you're outside of the norm. And I'm like, nah. So Mike Sykes' norm is love. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, Mike Sykes is going to love. And that's what I mean when Mike Sykes is loving instead of fighting, instead of arguing or putting that being bitter, then I'm close, I'm in alignment and I'm close to my grandma. Like that's me. Like that's what I want to be all the time. I'm not perfect, Don't please hear that. I be tripping sometimes, and I need to vent sometimes too. And I know where my North Star is at. So no matter what happens, and even dealing with all the society things that are going on in an executive order, and I'm being invited to say, oh, like I told you so, and all this stuff, I still see a whole bunch of people being harmed on both sides. That's sad. And so the people, both sides, they're deserving of love. So we're talking about community. This whole world is our community. That this whole world is my community. That's how I always looked at things. So like Martin Luther King said, like injustice from one is injustice for all. I really believe that. So like what am I doing to change the world? And you named it, like this is my heart, this is my soul, this is my spirit, this is easy equity. It's my attempt to change the world with love and centered in who I am. So if people don't like it, that's fine. But it's hard to argue. I'm just asking you to love you more intentionally and love you more. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. And it's hard to argue against me when I'm asking you to love you. And I know if this world invested in easy equity and did easy equity, we would have more smiles. If we had more smiles in this world, less wars, less confrontation, less inequities, less harm. Period.
See, and that's why we call this Mr. Easy Equity. You gave me the alley oop on that one, Michael. But also, when you were speaking about the community and the presence of yourself in it's a good leeway to the next question, really. So I'm gonna go into that next question, question number three here. And I consider myself a champion of Black and Brown communities, meaning I've known I've put in a lot of hours, time, work. This podcast is named Black and Brown in the Woods for a reason, right? And I've shared it in every episode, and I'll do it a little here. And it was all about what I was creating in the woods for a bunch of Black and Brown children who were coming to camp, majority foster care youth, not going home to not going home to home, not knowing where home is, right? And for me, when they came to camp, it was home, creating that. And as I think of all the healing we did for all those campers in that space who were coming from different circumstances, right? I never gave up. I always
Mhm.
was there every summer, every day. I was the first one awake, the last one asleep, right? Because one, when you're the mayor of the camp, you got to be the mayor of the camp. You ain't got no damn choice. But two, it was important for me to know that as much as I started the day for camp, I ended the day because I was a champion of those children. I was a champion of the staff who were looking up to me, who are working with me to support me in that camp space. So as we think of being champions of our Black and Brown communities, and where there's a lot of victories with that, and I shared that, right? It's just different victories, kids coming back saying, Mr. Adam taught me how to swim. Mr. Adam gave us archery. Excuse me. I think there's also sometimes where you don't get victories, right? There's the challenges. So in saying that, as we become champions of our Black and Brown communities, sometimes it does present challenges. What obstacles have you encountered along the way? And how have you overcome them to continue to make that positive impact that you are making? Like you ain't giving up on it. You staying steadfast on that impact. How does Michael Sykes not give up?
Woo! Um, you're on it today. You own one. That's a good question. It's rooted in my lineage. My grandpa, he on my mom's side, my granddad, he came from Arkansas and they had some riots and he left Arkansas with just the clothes on his back and moved to Chicago with nothing. Not not a home, not a lot of money in his pocket. He just moved there to get out of harm. Um, and within a year, he was a homeowner. And I remember he said he walked into some department store and they had this chandelier. And there's a chandelier for the store and things like that. It wasn't for sale. And he asked them like how much that chandelier. And this white gentleman said, it's not for sale. And he's like, all right, but how much would those cost? And this is 50s and 40s. Like what he was told wasn't all right. Within that same year, he went and brought that chandelier. And so like I come from resilience is in my lineage. Not giving up is in my lineage. My grandma graduated from Malcolm X College. That's why Malcolm X is in my blood. She went to the March on Washington. So it's like the resilience and the resistance and the love for my people is in my blood. And so yes, I've had some trials and tribulations and some frustrations because there's resistance everywhere I turn sometimes. And the more you know about culture and equity, you know about the experience of people of color, black and brown, kids, adults, professors, you name it. A lot of time, everywhere you look, it's ugly, and you see people just hurting. Like we were talking about executive coaching and things like that. Executives, one thing I've talked to mayors, I talked to executives, I talked to directors. All of them have stories of harm. They all have stories of harm and what they have to go through in order to get to that position. And that's frustrating to me. And that's sad to me. And so like those are like that hurts my heart, to be quite honest. And how I keep moving forward is there's still mayors, there's still executives, there's still directors. They made it. And so like my thing is everybody's the main character in their story, and everybody has a story to tell. So how am I connecting with people to hear their story, the true Hollywood story, the bio? I want to hear everything. I want to hear about everything that makes you you. And the more I know about people and the more I'm willing to listen and learn, that's equity. Because now your story will be told by not just you, but it'll be told by me too. And I'm going to tell your story and I'm going to bring it up. And so now the world is exposed to your story more. That creates lineage too. So regardless if you pass away tomorrow, your story still lives. That's called lineage. That's called history. And so the more people I can listen to, the more people I can love, the more people that shares with me, more people that says easy equity has changed their lives, I get to share other people's story just like I did today. So now their story doesn't die. And that's going to empower somebody else. So that keeps me going. All this suffering is just an opportunity for the come up. It's not okay. It sucks, but it's an opportunity to tell like from tragedy to triumph. And I'm gonna tell that story because too often times we only talk about black and brown, what happened to us. You don't talk about what we did to get out of all this stuff. And we still here. We still here. So that tells you something. So that's the story I'm telling. So I'm gonna hear about the suffering, the trials and tribulation. I'm gonna listen to that. And I also wanted you to tell me, how do you climb out of this darkness? I was talking to my mentor, and he is just like, yeah, it's time to turn on the lights. Yeah, let's turn on the lights because it's time to shine. We've been living in the dark ages too long. Everybody turn on your lights. You don't have to sit in the dark anymore. Let's tell our story of resilience and resistance and love. Because we did all this stuff when we brought our family out of the dark ages, out of the darkness. So when my daughter hears me talking on podcasts, she sees me smiling. That is resistance, that is love, and that is light. So now she don't need to know about all my tragedy. She needs to see me being an entrepreneur, me smiling in the face of adversity, me walking my walk, me centering love as the key to resistance she gets, I get to model that for her. And that is so much of a blessing and a privilege that I hold dearly. Me being a father to smile and model what love looks like, even though I was a father that didn't model what love looks like, they get to see my transformation. So I had to apologize to them to tell them who I am now, and now they get to see it. And more importantly, they feel it. So I don't cut them off. Their voice matters. It is a conversation because yeah, it's not do as what do they always say? Do as I say, not how I act or whatever. I'm like, no, I need you to see what I'm doing and I need you to listen what I'm saying. So all that is a story within in itself. And so when a story doesn't die, and when you can say somebody's names, like it's an African proverb, say their names because as long as you say their names, they're still alive. I'm saying a whole bunch of people's names. So regardless if they're on this earth or not, they still exist inside of me. So I'm always saying names.
You cooking. Michael Sykes is cooking here. Everything you sharing, Michael, it just, excuse me, it really just resonates in terms of, when we talk about not giving up, you gave so many reasons. From your grandpa, and I love the story about the chandelier. Man, that's a cool ass story. And inspiring, right? The challenges that grandpa was facing at that moment, and he overcome them. He's like, screw that. That's gonna be in my house. You'll see. Um, your grandma, your daughter, the people obviously that I know you work with, and I know that community is important as well. And it's so easy. You know this. It's so easy to give up on things. So
Mhm.
easy, right? Your brain can turn that on like a light switch. Like I'm done. Especially if you're one who could just be done with something and be done. But what I'm hearing you is those people, the cloth that you come from, the bloodline. Big ups to Malcolm X College. I'm assuming that's the one in Chicago. Um, I think that speaks to you ain't got no choice but to like stick in it. You can't give up. Yeah, that's what I get from that. Like Adam, all these things, ain't gonna allow me to give up. And I think that's the beautiful thing once again about these conversations. Why I named this Mr. Easy Equity? I think it just all speaks to the person you are, Michael. And every time you share glimpse of people and your grandfather, your grandmother, it just it completes my thought of you as a person, right? Like I like it's just added more to that brain space of me when I think of you. So but also it makes me think, and I'm a freestyle. I have a number 4 question, but I'm not gonna give you that one. I'm gonna go with something else here because it made me think of like all the amazing things you do for your family, right? For your work colleagues, for your community. For me, you always say yes to me when it comes down to recording and giving people food for thought, tangible resources. So it makes me think like who's taking care of you? And I know we went through the who's helping you heal segment. So I'm not going in that direction. I want to go more in the direction is how does Michael take care of Michael? What do you do for self-care, Michael, to disconnect? Because you're right, you mentioned about all the greatness you provide and do, but you're also human and you have your moments. Sometimes you're going to be tense, sometimes you might be frustrated, right? And it's going to come out in some way. But I guess the question to that is, what does Michael do to take care of Michael?
Ugh. Yeah, like for me, it's working out in the mornings. Um, I get to be with my mentor. I think mentorship is so key. I think no matter how old you are, you can always use a mentor, and you should be a mentor and be a mentee. So working out with him, Derek Fuller, I'm gonna put his name out there. Super amazing person. Like we just chill and relax, and we talk about anything and everything, and to like we'll talk about something and we'll get teared up while we're working out. But it's just like. he's older than me, but like the fact that he's willing to be vulnerable with me, like I need that. So that fills my cup every single day. And I also play basketball. Like I get on the court. When I'm on the court, I'm free. And I love the creativity. I love the game was inside of the game that's inside of the game. And like basketball has given me so much. It's opened up my whole world and it helped me realize how smart I was and how my brain works and how detailed I am with understanding and analyzing. So basketball is like I say it's my first love. And so like that helps me when I'm on a court, it's healing. And also while I'm working out, I'm listening to a book on tape. Um, what helps me heal is growing. If I'm not growing and I feel stagnant, I feel like I'm trapped in a box, and that drives me nuts. So listening to a book on tape, putting giving me new ideas and giving me new perspective and giving me knowledge about history or things that are happen in the past or why things are helps me create things that break these shackles. And so like those are the things that help me heal. Also, I go for walks. Walks is big. And so you said I'll get into nature. I'm like, yeah, yeah. I went for a walk the other day. It's a 2.5 mile walk. It's good listening to birds, looking at the mountains, and appreciating nature. Those are just things I do for me, and just and to meditate, to take breath, to be still, listen to the ocean sounds. It's great. And when I can go out the country and put my feet in the sand, I'm all about it. All about it.
Well, one, I'm glad that you have tons of resources, right? Because as we celebrate Michael and give him his virtual flowers, I think it's also important for us to know, like you got the things in place that take care of you, right? I think I shared in one of my other segments that I'm a big believer in bringing messages, but also a big believer in bringing messengers. And I think they both share just as much importance. And I feel like with messengers and the people that I love to bring and the message they bring just speaks power. And I always share with like, as much as these messengers are doing great for themselves, right? They're like entrepreneurs taking care of their business and but they're still humans and they still
Mhm.
go through things. So the question was more of like just making sure Michael Sykes, Mr. Easy Equity, got some things in place. And I knew you did, but it's always good to ask and allow the listeners to hear that you have some things in place. And big ups to Derek Fuller, right? Derek Fuller was the name.
Yep.
Yeah. And you mentioned the power of mentorship. And yeah, that resonated for me as well because I pride myself as a mentor and as a mentee. And yeah, man, I think the power of mentorship is such a real thing that can fill your cup when it's empty. And so big ups to Derek Fuller on that one. We're at question number 5 here. So we're at the end of this wonderful episode of honoring Michael Sykes and the work he's done and the people he has impacted. And we come from a similar generation, and each generation has its own challenges, benefits, things like that, right? And but I'm one that because I'm a strategic person, I always want to look ahead, and it's important for me. I do worry about next generation. I'm not one who's like, I ain't gonna even be alive. That's not me, right? It's important for me to know that the next generation can get some tangible resources and wisdom from the individuals who are paving the road right now, right? In whatever life they're living, the things that they're changing, the narratives they're changing, the cycles they're ending. So in this one is if you could sit down with the next generation of change makers, what's the one lesson or piece of wisdom you would want to pass down to them?
Whoa. Jeez. I don't. You're yeah. You're all the way out here. That's a great question. Um, and to be honest, like, excuse me, I I wrote Easy Equity to support with the past, present, and future. Like I really wanted to create something that my grandkids would 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 see. And I wrote it in a way that like we said before, is like all the way my heart. So my grandkids would know me. That's who I want to talk to. That's who I want to sit down with. It is my lineage. My great grandkids. I want them to know that I care about them. And I was thinking of them. In this moment before they're even created, they were in my mind and in my spirit, because like this world isn't the world I want my kids to grow up in right now. And so there's some disappointment that I have within myself because of that. And I know I can't hold everything. I know that. But some of my kids' experience, they they shouldn't experience it. So I had to be more strategic and more intentional with creating a space for my grandkids, so they don't have to experience the same thing I did, my mom did, my sister did, and my kid did. So easy equity is close. It is my heart because I, I wanted to create something that when they're living in this world, it's a world with more love. So they don't have to experience what the Sykes, it's not just the Sykes, but what a lot of black and brown people experienced. So like I want to talk to them and say, like, I love you. I love you before you even existed. And now you get to know me, and hopefully not this is what I did so your life can be better. And so take my take my heart, take my love, and run with it and do it for your grandkids, so we can make this future sustainable. And like I'll also tell them like I love you unconditionally, and you matter, and you're enough, and there's nothing that they can do to disappoint me. Like I know that your great granddad loved you. I want them to know that. And and he was and I was willing to be vulnerable and sacrifice everything for your lives to be better. I think that's some of the conversations I would want to have with them.
No doubt, man. One, thank you. One, for your vulnerability. I know those are happy tears that you shed
Yeah.
there, Mr. Sykes, Mr. Easy Equity, and
Ah,
also yeah, being able to share the space with you in vulnerability and it just once again when you speak about like the extension of great grandchildren, right? That's you putting in place right now for the next generations, right? Like, and that I think that's the power of Michael Sykes. I really do believe that the way you think, the way you love, the way you visualize, right? And they're gonna know it. Your great grandchildren are gonna know great granddad was on it, because it benefits now, especially with the world today, is they got videos. They can go back and watch a video of you, right? Where maybe my granddad didn't have that, my great granddad didn't have that opportunity, but also like I said my grandfather Carmelo passed away a long time ago, still resonates in me. Like the
yeah,
man, I'm telling you, he's been gone for at least 20 some years. I still think of him every week and the impact, right?
yes.
And there's no videos for me to remember him. I have maybe limited photos. I have his walking cane,
Mm,
right? Um, but what I have more than that is my memories of him. Visiting him in Gary, Indiana. He'll be waiting in the window in his rocking chair, and I'll run up, and he has a Crown Royal bag full of quarters. It's the little things, right? So I
yeah,
say that is when you were speaking of, excuse me, your great grandchildren, and you wanting them to know that you love them, and making them proud and putting things in place for them. Man, there ain't no doubt about that, Mr. Sykes. You taking care of that in full and plenty. And that is why we wanted to honor you today, right? And
Thank
give
you.
you your virtual flowers and say thank you, because I think a big part of why I do this podcast is there's a lot of podcasters out there who honor athletes, superstars, actors, and actresses, people who are in the limelight. But there's so many people that are not in that limelight that are doing big, powerful things, even if it's small things that accumulate to bigger things that I feel need to be recognized and celebrated. And Michael, that's you all day. So I appreciate you coming through the Black and Brown in the Woods podcast, where we take you outside and heal inside. Of course, I want to give final words to you. If you have any final words, if there's any way people can get a hold of you, connect with you, if you want to share anything that's coming up for you, any events, we're going to be celebrating you for the entire month of April. So the whole month of April, you're going to see videos of this podcast because I break them down to shorts and things like that. So we're going to celebrate different segments of this video. But I want to give Mr. Easy Equity the last words. Any final thoughts before we end this segment?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Adam, thank you for having me. I don't know if you know that like how you celebrate other people is rare. And so like thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um the final words I would have for people is this acronym that I developed, and it's called Be Brave. And the BE is be brilliant and be empathetic. So be brilliant, be brilliantly empathetic towards yourself. That's the BE. And the next B in brave is breathe. We need to slow down and just take in air to bring ourselves to center. The R is for release. Like we talked about some trials and tribulations. Some things aren't meant for us to carry anymore. That trauma, that pain, it no longer serves us, so we need it to let it go. Release. Release. And the A is for affirm. You survive 100% of your roughest days. You're dope. You're doing amazing things, regardless of what society and this world is saying to you. No matter of the mistakes that you're making, you're still amazing. Affirm yourself. And not only affirm, the V is for validate. You survive 100% of your roughest days. You're doing amazing things. You are dope. Check your receipts. You overcome so much, and you will continue to do amazing things. And the last E is evolve. You're no longer that person that you used to be. You're different. So you got to move different. So think about that person that you're destined to be and what would they do? And that's your best next step. So I would tell people, be brave.
Man, I love that. Of course, be brave. And it speaks volumes of everything you shared within the questions that were asked, the answers that you provided. And that's just like the cherry on top, Mr. Sykes. That like, damn, let's be brave. And I agree with you on all levels of that. And also congratulate you because now you're part of the Black and Brown in the Woods alumni. All right, you're number 4 in that crew. We're honoring 12 this year of Black and Brown in the Wood podcast. We do one a month. And the reason why is because we don't want to just roll out an episode and that's all you hear. I'm going to roll out an episode and different parts of the episode in pieces and segments because the person deserves to be celebrated throughout the month. So Michael has tons of services, tons of things that I'm going to provide in the description box for everybody. How you can get a hold of him. He's on LinkedIn, he's on Instagram, and I'll put those things in there as well. You can check out his website. But Black and Brown in the Woods is about It's about taking you outside so you can heal inside. We want to celebrate our community heroes and sheroes, but more importantly, we want to have some vulnerable conversations with folks. These people are impacting others, and we want to know why, but we want to go past that. And when we have conversations where our people can come through and share pieces of their heart, that's the beautiful thing about this show, this segment. And this is number 4 once again. And you know what the theme is? Mr. Easy Equity. So thank you, Michael Sykes, for coming through. Thank you, listeners, for checking out this show. It will be on different platforms, and it will be released on April 3rd. Other than that, you know what my last words are. Who's helping you heal, y'all? Peace.